Hello everyone and welcome back to the SHOT Show edition of The Rundown. Coming to you from SHOT Show 2022 right here in Las Vegas. I am your host Craig DeLuz for this interview. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
No, I am Mike Borski and I'm co-hosting today here on The Rundown at SHOT Show 2022 from the Beretta Media Zone. And it's always a pleasure to be with you and be with all of you out there in viewerland and listenerland for on the podcast. Here today on The Rundown.
Yes, if you are listening, listen to us wherever if you want to listen, you can listen wherever you find your podcast. Just look for The Rundown, 2A News, and Conservative Views. And with that, and I see we're kind of crooked, so I'm going to fix that real quick. But in the meantime, why don't you introduce our guest?
I'm trying to get less crooked.
You're going, there you go.
Going the wrong way? That way?
All right.
Well, listen, you're a good friend of The Rundown, good friend of Craig and I, and to many out there, and if he's not, it's unfortunate for you. Please welcome back to the program, Mr. Kevin Dixie.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm trying to look mysterious today on purpose, but I do appreciate your time. Thanks for having me on. There you go. Put the shades on, brother. There you go. We're going mysterious. We both got our names underneath us, but we're still going to be mysterious. There you go.
That's it. Kevin, how's the show going for you?
It's going great, man. I'll be honest, I was a little concerned. I think everybody was.
Yes.
But actually being here now, and we've all been engaging, basically via social media. Maybe you call a couple of industry peers. But it's good to be around this, to be back into the synergy of it,
Sure is.
Seeing people, actually making that human connection again, catching up, motivating each other, congratulating each other on our different levels of success. So it's good to be back, and I'm glad that NSSF pushed this through.
Very much so. I've had chance to took a quick tour around. The one thing that's nice walking around the floor, we got a little more shoulder room. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a couple more chairs to sit down in.
Mm-hmm.
There are some vendors that are not here, but they've also opened up a whole nother hall. So all those people that are over there now would normally be here clogging up this space. So it at first glance, it looks like, it's a little less than normal. But I think we're probably about the same, really, because they've expanded so much. And now there have been people that have dropped out. But remember, in the past 2 years, so many more people have wanted to come here. That's why they opened up the venue hall. So I'm really enjoying it. Now, let me ask you this. Those that did drop out, that did drop out for non-legit reasons. Okay, listen, I know some of the foreign companies couldn't be here because of the travel restrictions.
Right.
All right. I know some of them couldn't be here because they may have COVID. How do you feel about those that just said, yeah, I'm not going?
Yeah, just because?
Yeah, I'm not going. I made my money this year, I'm not going. I'm not worried about the industry, I'm worried about me.
I believe if you didn't do it for legit business reasons, if it's more like I'm just not. I understand the companies that are like, hey, the people we send actually work in our plant too. So if something does happen to them, it shuts down.
Sure.
That's totally legit. But for just to shrug your shoulders and say, hey, no need to be there, I just politely and humbly and with love, the people in this building are the middleman between the populace that is truly consuming the product. That's why we have this, right?
Yeah.
So it's you're snubbing your nose at those individuals, and this is an opportunity to always come. Let them see your products. Let them meet you. Let them make your brand more personal. Let them build those connections. So when we all go back and we talk to the regular, we're all consumers, but when we go talk to the end user, rather, that we can convey those information that I love. So if you just like, hey, I don't want to feel like being bothered, like. We got to be bothered talking about your product. We got to be bothered promoting you. We got to be bothered dealing with your stuff when we recommend it and it doesn't work that well. We got to be bothered with giving you free promotion, free commercials. So you probably should be bothered with us.
One more thing.
Yeah, I agree completely. Listen, and there's some end users out there, the mom and pop, the firearm stores, they're maybe in a little higher risk category. I get that, but those, like Kevin just said, those in the middle that couldn't be bothered to come here, I don't feel bothered to be promoting their stuff or be buying their stuff.
Exactly. Talk about promotions. Now, Kevin, you are well known in the 2A community, and the funny thing is you are known for so many different things. So share with folks who may not know, because 2A News and Conservative Views, we're not just 2A folks. A lot of our folks who watch are kind of center. We like to say center-right political folks, and there's a lot that you do that I think they would be interested in hearing about.
Oh, cool. Well, several things, like you had mentioned. I try to keep it straight. So I started off originally as a civil rights advocate, and I was 15. So when I say civil rights advocate starting at 15, I'm a knucklehead kid trying to figure out how to make life better, right? But I just knew I wanted something better. I try to motivate those around me. But I stuck with that. 6 years later, right around 21 years old, I took a job with the St. Louis City PD. I worked in the prisoner division, and from there is when I learned firearms. And I also seen firsthand exactly what happens to people when they don't do the right thing and I also seen the true evil monsters walking the earth that we need to be able to defend ourselves from. So from there, I wanted to help out with training individuals and keeping them out of prison while doing it. Not just from a legal standpoint, but where I come from, I'm from inner city St. Louis area called Walnut Park. For us, and I am a black man, if you're listening, if you're looking at me, you can tell that, and I am the sexiest black man you've ever seen in your life.
Definitely at the table. Definitely at the table. Yeah.
Definitely at the table, sure.
Sorry, bro.
But you know, that experience, when we came up, that experience with guns was always negative for different reasons. So I wanted to do a few things. Hey, we're gonna give you professional training. I learned under some really good guys, and I'm blessed to take that information and share with you and continue to develop it myself. But I'm also gonna push for civil rights and human rights. So I'm gonna have the uncomfortable conversations to say, yeah, we're all screaming freedom, but we have to understand what we're actually trying to protect. And with this industry in particular, and not each individual, but kind of as a collective, what I saw a lot is that they were in an echo chamber. And I said, well, I'm gonna be the guy to hurt your feelings. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have tough conversations. We're gonna open it up. We're not gonna be intellectual infants anymore. We're done with that, right? And I picked that up from when I left the law enforcement work. You know, I went, and a lot of people in the industry don't even know this, but I went and grabbed undergrad in business and a master's in business, right? So when I decided to actually bring that skill set to the 2A world too, it's like, oh, I'm going to make sure that some people, right, that don't know things, we don't know what we don't know, right, and why not share with each other? So I said, hey, I'm gonna start a professional development curriculum for individuals as well. If you're in the 2A sphere whatsoever, I'm going to help you build your business on the back end, and then also help you with training on the front end, and help you understand network and collaborations, right? Which is why I can sit here with you two guys, because I open my mouth, you talk, we talk, we network.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to do, so I do all that. So the professional development part of it is me bringing my good industry friends in to help teach and coach people. I don't know everything, I bring the smart people in, right? Then there's the firearms training, there's the civil rights, and then there's my community outreach where we are putting fathers back into the lives of their children. We are giving literacy skills, resume writing skills. We are now on the brink of opening land where we're gonna do there's gonna be a shooting portion to it outside of Atlanta, but another portion to it is going to be us bringing kids out, teaching them farming. We're going to teach them hand skills, working on cars, you know, the emergency roadside things. Right. We're going to have them doing archery, building fires, a lot of the Boy Scout-ish activities. But we're also going to teach them de-escalation, right? We're going to put them in hostile situation and teach these young men how to walk away. We're going to teach you how to read and write. We're going to teach you how to write a resume. We're going to teach you how to be employable. We're going to do that because America at one end, I love freedom, man. I love it. That's why I fight for civil rights, and I'm always going to fight for it. And I'm having a tough conversation with you, not for division, but for unification. However, there are other Americans, even if we aren't helping them just with the pew-pew thing, right? There are other Americans that still need our assistance, that still need that. They didn't pull yourself up by the bootstraps. It's easy to say if you got a pair of boots. And some of these people just don't know what they don't know. So I don't want to just scream freedom and arm good people, which is awesome. And we should do more and more of that. But I also want to say, hey, we're going to use our freedom and the good energy of the Second Amendment community, and we're going to bring that over here to people that might not ever pick up a gun, but we care to pick up your spirit, your soul, and enrich your life. And then if you see the equity in your life and you say, you know what, wow, now I see what I'm working for, now I see the value in life, and I want to be able to protect it. I don't have to sell you a gun, I just need you to get your proper training. You'll understand and want to defend that equity. So that's what I do.
You know, a lot of those skills you're talking about teaching to the youth of today is things that people of our generation, of our age, we had in school for the most part.
Yeah.
And we've been able to sit back as conservatives, as civil rights advocates, and see the correlation between when those dropped off the curriculums in schools to when individuals started to be without guidance, to be without training, without being set up for success for the future. So that's great. I don't think I've heard anybody else talk about bringing that back in mass like you just talked about. That's wonderful, Kevin, and that's not that it means much, but that's a huge pat on the back from us.
Thanks, man. No, it means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Being a school board member, you see this a lot, and it's when you see how society, within our society, the breakdown of the family, the push more and more to start to have those things, because the breakdown of the family means that's why a lot of those things aren't being taught at home, right? Then you have the takeover of the schools where they're trying to make the schools teach a completely different set of values, and the set of values I'm talking about are victimization,
yep.
right? are, someone else is in control of your future, of your destiny, and you can't be successful without them. And, there's oppressed and there's oppressors. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but you are not oppressed by just because of the nature of the color of your skin, right? Being oppressed is a mentality. And what I like about what you're talking about is you're talking about developing a liberty-minded mentality. When you say we're not just yelling freedom, but we're giving you tools. You're giving them tools with which they can be free.
Correct. And you know what? I'm big on saying, and I've done a lot of talks about how, and I'll make it slightly political for a second. How let's just take inner cities, and I want to be very clear.
On our show? Do we allow that? Do we allow politics on our show?
Yeah, whatever. It's a Tuesday. Let's do it.
Just don't talk COVID.
Don't. Okay. I'll make sure I avoid that.
COVID with a K is okay. You can do COVID with a K.
With a K?
COVID with a
Okay.
K. Yeah.
Right.
When we start talking about the struggles of the inner city, I want to be very clear about something. And if you haven't, I want everybody to look up Fred Hampton, and you'll find out Fred Hampton was the leader of the Panthers in the Chicago area. What you'll also understand from that is Fred Hampton, as much as he was about black enrichment, he started a group called the Rainbow Coalition. And I want people to Google that. I want you to look up the Rainbow Coalition, because what that was, the Rainbow Coalition was blacks, whites, and Hispanics who all came together and said, we're all getting played. Right? And so I understand that, hey, you might be focused on your thing, because guess what? That's where you come from. That's what you know, you and you. But there's a group of us of all different shades that are being victimized by this big G, right? So when we take a step backwards and understand that mentality going forward, what I want people to understand is that if we are talking about recent victimization, I have no problem taking you all the way back to the 1600s, which I've done a lot. But we're going to talk recent. We'll talk the last 40, 50 years. It hasn't been so much the Klan member running down the street with the hood on his head that's making it hard. And I'll be very upfront. You know who's making it hard for the inner cities? It's your politicians, right? So when you look at that, when you look at being in my lifetime,
it's the politicians who claim they are there to help.
Yeah, they're not there to help. And you know how I know? Because I was the guy that stood there, right? And they're coming down and telling me, hey, you see this all around you? We understand you're in a food desert. We understand that every other building is vacant and torn down. We understand that you have to go through a desegregation program to go get a good education. We get that. It's going to get better, man. It's going to get better. And then finally at like 17, I was like, you've been saying that for a long time now, right? And then the people before me that are older than me said, you've been saying the same thing. When is it going to change? So when you speak about preaching victimization in schools, what I want people to understand is that when it comes to the people that's really being pushed on, the minority community, understand and hear my voice. You can have everything in this country you want. Are there going to be obstacles? Probably. Do we still have idiots? Yeah. If you say we don't have idiots, I'll raise you a Brunswick, Georgia with the McMichaels, and I'll show you what kind of idiots we got in the country, right? But at the same time, if you allow people to take, even if it's a smidgen of the truth, yes, is there still systemic racism? We could talk about why Bank of America keeps getting sued every few years for, discrimination when it comes to their homelanding practices, right? We can talk about Levittown and Nassau County. There are things like that, but we can look at that and say, okay, that group of people did this. What are we going to do to get around it? I don't give a damn if you hate me. I don't care if you don't want me to succeed. Matter of fact, game on, right?
Right.
And we're going to go and we're going to do it regardless. So we don't have to be victims, even if it is the truth. All we have to do is recognize it. Oh, you're an obstacle. Great. Your system is an obstacle. Great. So we overcome it. We don't kneel to it.
Well, but Kevin, the thing that gets me about it though is this: is that when you tell someone that you're a victim and it's the system's fault, then what happens is you remove the power from their hands for them to make changes in their lives. When you tell somebody that you are the captain of your ship, right?
Yeah.
That you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, that where you will be in life will be the sum total of the decisions that you make, right? You've now empowered that person, right? You've given them the power, and then, like I said, you're not just giving them that in terms of a motivation and understanding. You're actually providing real tools that they can, once again, they can take and they can use to build their business. Now they've got a trick. They know how to shoot a firearm, and not only do they know how to shoot, they know how to teach other people, right? How to shoot a firearm. And now you're going to help them develop their business so that they can be successful at it. Not just training, working for somebody else, but training workers for themselves as an entrepreneur.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'll tell people easily, look, man, if you want to talk about, and I'm not going to go deep, this will be 10 seconds. I'm from the inner city, single mom, no dad, raped and molested in foster care, grew up with crack selling, dope dealing, gang banging. I am the person that's supposed to be in prison. I am not a rapper. I am not a professional athlete, all right? Because that's what we've been told is successful, or an entertainer, right?
Right.
What I am is a father to my children. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm educated. I beat that crap. You don't have to be a victim to any of that. But to your point, if we sit and we tell people, oh, I'll never make it. Look, man, I went from literally being a kid eating sugar sandwiches and sleeping on floors. Fast forward all the way up to now, my professional development outreach alone has generated for small businesses over $500,000. So we can sit and we can wallow and we can say, oh me, oh my, or you can get up off your bottom. You can address things the way that they are. We can look each other in the eye. You know, get people around you that challenge you and push you. Right. Don't get people that just keep saying, yeah, man, it really sucks for us. No, what can you do? Even if you fell flat on your face before, get your butt up, do better and push forward. And I understand reasons and I understand complications. I know what it's like for somebody to look and tell you, you're not gonna succeed, you're gonna be in prison. Matter of fact, since you were touched as a child, you're gonna be a homosexual, you're not gonna have a family, you're not gonna be a father, you're going to repeat the cycle of everything that happened to you. And then I also understood what it took for me to sit down and say, oh, F you. And you know what? If there is a mentality like you that believes that about me, now I'm going to show you different. And not only am I going to show you different, I'm going to look at these other 3, 4, 500,000 people that probably are getting told the same thing, and I'm going to be an example to show them how you succeed. So now I don't have to worry about being a guy with a yacht and a mansion. But you know what I did do? You guys want to know what I did do? My kid doesn't understand what crack is. My daughter doesn't know what food stamps is. And you know what they have? They got paid for college now. I was able to put $10,000 braces in my son's mouth. That's what I was able to do. So now when dad passes, it might just be leaving you a house and a few $100,000 in the bank to start your life with, but I won't leave you with debt and I'll leave you a step up in life. And if we can do that now, that's how you snap generational curses. They don't know what sugar sandwiches is, right? But they're still educated and they're smart enough to know that you're blessed in life. And what you will do with this blessing is make your kids' life even easier. And that's how we change things. You don't change it by just, thinking tomorrow your life is going to be totally different. You have to start building. You have to look 5, 10, 15, 30 years in the future. And once you execute on that plan, stop making excuses, be about your business, you will make it happen. Or you can sit your butt at home and say, oh me or my, and guess what? We'll be passing you up and we'll look back and say, I wonder what you could have did. And remember, you're not just letting yourself down, you're letting your kids down, you're letting your grandkids down and so forth.
What you said, it's a generational thing. There's no short-term solution to the long-term problem. It's a generational thing.
Y'all got me preaching up here today.
And I like what you said. It's about generational. Like, people don't believe in generational. Here's the thing. You pass an inheritance on to the next generation, right? That inheritance, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's property, but it's also a mentality. It's also what skills have you put in place? What values have you placed in them? And what you're talking about is inputting in them, not, once again, just those
additional, the house money, all that, but
the values that will carry them forward, even from the step up that you've provided for them. And that's what we need to be doing, and not relying on the government. Because if you sit back and wait on the government, I always say this, it don't matter. You may think the government owes you something, right? But here's the thing: how many people owe you money? Now, what if you decided I'm gonna stop working or doing anything until that person pays me the money they owe me?
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah. So, hey, how do people follow you? Follow the work that you're doing?
Oh, easy. On all your social media platforms, it's The Real NOC for no other choice. The Real NOC on all your platforms. You can also send us an email at info@nootherchoice.net. There's another platform that we've started called Stogies and Straps, which is how we bring cigars and culture and different things in to have some of the tough conversations. Just Stogies and Straps on all your social media platforms. Don't be shy. Reach out. I like engaging. The only thing I ask is that we all be mature and polite.
Which is a lot to ask in some cases today.
On social media these days. Well, sir, thank you so very much. And as I said to everybody, I hope you have a very fun and prosperous and safe shot show.
No, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Well, hey, folks, that's going to be it for this episode. Once again, we'll be back with more interviews, talking with different folks about different stuff. We are having a phenomenal time here in the Beretta Media Zone at SHOT Show 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll let y'all later.